How are we all doing? So quiet. I was just making sure my audio is working.
Hey guys, how's it going today? Ready to get this party started?
Hey there.
Hi. How you doing, Andy? Are you back home yet, or are you still in the outback there?
I'm still in Montana. I come home on Friday.
You come home on Friday?
I do. It's been a lot of coordination, but it's getting there.
Yeah, I see you opened up a couple cans of worms there.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. It's really cool though. I'm redoing the attic / loft space or whatever, and the house was built in 1900, and we pulled back the old sheetrock and stuff. The 2x4s in the roof are real deal, no plane 2x4s from
like probably milled on site kind of thing, or down the street.
Yeah. And then the boards that go behind the 2x4s are almost like live edge wood planks.
Wow.
Super cool.
Very cool. But did they have to redo the roof, or the roof is good?
No, the actual roof was done about 7 years ago. So we're just doing new foam insulation and sheetrock and stuff and subfloor and.
Adding a bedroom there, is that the deal?
What's that?
Adding a bedroom up there?
It was a bedroom before. It's sort of a 2-bedroom sort of situation up there. I don't know when the attic was converted to a bedroom space, but that's the plan. You could do 2 queen-size beds up there easy.
Oh, excellent. And then you have a bedroom downstairs too, or it's just bedrooms? Oh, so all right, that's great.
Yeah.
So you'll have 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms?
Yeah, 3.
Excellent. Yeah. All right. Big enough for a family.
It is.
Right? Excellent. All right. Let's give it a minute or two. We have looks like we're a little shy on people coming in, but it's great. It'll grow. We have a lot to cover today. Paul's going to get on at some point. Let's start the conversation with tell me something good, right? That'll lead us into give people some time to join on. How you doing today, Tracy? Yeah, you. Oh yeah, that's right. There are several Tracys.
Are you talking to me or?
Well, I was looking at Tracy Bates because she was on my screen.
Oh.
So,
I'm good, Joey. Thank you.
We're both good. Both Tracys are good.
That's excellent. Who has something good to tell me this week? I spent a nice, somewhat relaxing weekend in Big Bear. It wasn't what I would call a vacation, but it was a nice change of scenery, right?
Did you rent a boat when you were there, or did you do that ahead of time, set it up?
Just set it up before you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mess, especially on the weekends. Like we went out on we had a boat reserved for Saturday, but it actually rained, so they canceled I guess all the lake stuff gets canceled while there's lightning and thunder. But it was cool to be up there in a rainstorm and stuff. It was nice. It was actually
Yeah, it's nice when it's so hot. I mean, you can stand out in the rain. It feels good. It's like the East Coast when it would rain.
Yeah.
You know?
The smell of wet, hot tarmac.
It's the best. I love that smell.
Too. Anybody else have anything to share? They want to share something good that happened this week, either in business or personal, or Rob's mom was in Big Bear during the lightning storm. I'm bummed I missed her. Her bike melted.
I'm on the Zoom call.
Bike and melted.
I don't have a link to that. Can you send me a link to it? I can't find it anywhere.
Wild. It was, yeah, the lightning was pretty, the thunder was more intense than the lightning. I sat out in it for quite a while. It was nice. Anybody else want to share? Share. Andy's got her attic renovation going. I spent a weekend at Big Bear.
I will tell you that wind stuff is no joke. We had a big, they come through like a flash. Thunder and lightning and a little bit of rain and so forth came through, and a giant limb snapped on my roof.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Did it do anything to damage to the roof, or it just was a?
It was inches away from the electrical line, and it only punctured maybe a 3-inch by 4-inch hole in the roof. Didn't even dent the gutter, and this limb was no less than 18 inches round.
Wow.
It was huge. Yeah.
That's big. All right, well, you dodged a bullet, basically.
Yeah.
Could have been much worse, right?
Buy a lotto ticket.
Yeah. Well, let's not push it. Anybody else want to share? If not, we'll get the ball rolling. I think Paul's on now, and I see John and Chuck. It's great to have you guys. Let's. I think we have a lot to cover. Let's get the party started. All right, we've got classes for this week. We'll review some classes. Mornings with Ed. Ed, like I said, I don't know how to pump this up enough or recommend this to everyone to jump on to kickstart their day. Every day, it's energy. It's feel good, and it's knowledge, right?
There you go. I love the introduction. Yes, I like to think of it as a shot of espresso for your business for the day. We get you going. We talk a little bit mindset kind of stuff, get your head on right. Sometimes like this morning, we talk about some stats, what's going on in the market. Sometimes we talk about scripts and techniques and situations. We address stuff as it comes up. It's a good time had by everyone, and we're looking into solving world peace, world hunger, as well as global warming all at one time.
Definitely cast the wide net.
I don't know if I can. I may have overreached on those last few, but it'll certainly help your real estate business.
Barely. You definitely we definitely tap into it. All right. What else we have next, Tara? Well, all right. Command class tomorrow with Paul, Tristan, and Blake is going to be an open forum Q&A on command. That sounds like those guys are really putting themselves in the firing line, but it will definitely be an hour's worth of information. Again, that's 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and it is tomorrow morning. We'll send out the links go out in the morning update. Task Force Diversity University. Do we have? I don't know if Lorna's on. I should have. I'm going to send you. We have a new flag up in front of the office. There was a recommendation from Lorna and April. I'm going to send it to you, Ed. See if you can get it on.
It looks really good, Joey.
Yeah, I have to get some weights on it.
So it doesn't flap. Yeah.
Here's the basic. Here's a postcard of the flag. Well, here you go. We got it. but I'll also send you the,
It's so pretty. I have that in my grass, and Tracy too.
I love it. I have to get one for my grass too.
Yeah, it's very cool. I saw them when I was in Portland about a year ago. They were in everybody's lawn. Like a year ago.
A year ago.
A year and a half ago. Portland's fabulous.
Yeah, they're on fire.
Yeah, they are.
They are on fire.
But I have no updates. I did send you an email though, Joy, when you get a chance.
Yes, we'll have to,
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Yep, we'll get that in the books, and our objective is to get a time scheduled for that and to drive to that event. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, for the diversity training. Exactly.
Exactly. All right, let's see. Next, Tara, we have what would Bob do? So if no one's going to send this in, if this doesn't appeal to anybody, we don't have to do it. But it really is an opportunity for you to share your experiences from the week and any interesting or unusual phenomena that are going on. I'm going to talk about. I'll put something out there because Carlos brought it up this morning in the morning rev up, and that is, are we seeing any changes in the market? And the conversation I didn't have this morning, but I had with someone else, and I'll just use this as a starting point for the conversation, is it's getting to the point that initial fervor, feeding frenzy is getting to a point where buyers are getting into deals that they have to have, and they're overpaying, and then they're starting to look at, hey, did I make the right choice? Am I overpaying? And so what we're seeing is the pushback on the buyer's side a little bit. I've seen it a couple times where buyers are being more aggressive about their ask after they get into contract, in request for repairs. We've seen some anomalies in appraisals. So they're the first signs of a kind of a reckoning of desire and sensibility, right? Does that make sense? So are you guys seeing any of that? Is that something that, I know there's some hard conversations that come around when you have a client that goes all in on a buyer who goes all in on an offer and gets it, and then gets an appraisal that is $100,000 or more less than what they offered, right? It's kind of a tough conversation, but one that will happen in these kind of situations, these kind of markets. Anyone experiencing that, or finding buyers starting to look at their choices in a different way?
Joey, it's Lorna. We were talking about that a little bit at the 9 a.m. and there does seem to be a little bit of a slowdown on the feeding frenzy.
Yeah. Which is natural, right? And it's a natural occurrence. It's just,
I liked it unnatural better.
Well, especially if you're on the seller side. If you're on the side of the equation, for sure, right?
Hey, Joey, I have a what would Bob do?
Yeah.
I'm in escrow right now, and my clients love the house. Everything's going great. Problem is, the seller has an adult son who comes over all the time to hang out at the house and smokes cigarettes constantly. And my clients are like, everything's great, but if we could get that son out of here, like they almost wanted to ask for a credit to like get someone to come in and like, it's not as bad as like my clients are making it sound. But to be honest, like son, we can't get the son out. And so what have people done in the past when there's a smoker in the house and your buyers are like, okay, I removed all my contingencies. Can you guys stop smoking in the house? Like, right? It's personal. Like I said, you can't control person's behavior. But I was wondering, has anyone come across that? What have you done to like, I mean, I'm basically saying we can ask, but we can't guarantee behaviors, you know? So has anyone had that situation? And if so, after move-in, what did you suggest to your buyers? Like maybe just change the filter?
Hire somebody to get TSP, which is a nicotine remover substance, and wipe down every surface and paint it, right? I mean, that's the way to really deal with any kind of nicotine residue.
I mean, it's not, I
Because
don't think it's that bad.
technically it's not their house until you close escrow, so you really can't tell them not to do something.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to explain. I mean, honestly, it's not that bad. It's brand new construction. He's just coming over and being a dick. You know, I'm sorry, but like, he's because he doesn't want to move, and he doesn't want his parents to move, and he's just chilling in the sweet house and smoking, and I'm sure just hanging, you know. But it's enough where when you come over, they definitely sprayed cologne everywhere to cover it up.
Right. Somebody's aware of it.
Can they install an air cleaner while he's there?
Oh.
I would recommend to talk to the listing agent, have a heart-to-heart with the listing agent, give her and let her know that, you know what, this is a concern for the buyer. It's in her best interest to get the closing smoothly done. So ask for her help to talk with the seller, not the son, but the seller, to advise that the seller, you know, the son needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, going back to my original conversation, you know, this is a buyer now who is like getting into the weeds on on this purchase, and in a more with a more desire in a situation where the buyers feel like, you know, they're just happy to get something, they overlook so much more than what is being than the son's smoking in the place, right? But just communicate with the buyer's agent, right? That's the most you can do.
Yeah,
you know?
we've been talking. He hates it too. I mean, the son's been an issue with him the whole time because he's like, I never knew when I was showing it if he'd be there or not, that kind of thing. So
It's a conversation he doesn't want to have either. Take my word for it. I'm sure.
Okay.
But is anybody else seeing any fluctuations or changes or nuances in their buyers once in contract or out of contract or going into contract? Anybody seeing anything like that, or is it, you know, I'm seeing it because I talk to everybody about their deals, right? So I know that that this is a, you know, this is a pattern which is developing, and I think it's the first signs of a kind of you know, not a rational, getting back to a little more rational market, at least in the middle.
Hey, Joey.
Yeah.
Hi. I have seen, well, I've been in an escrow. It's been really protracted. My buyers right out of the gate got a pre-approval from their previous lender. And then once we got in, I've told you about this, it's the same deal. They were just still waiting on the lender to give the final sign off, and they had to do a cross collateralization of their own home. They didn't want to sell first to buy, and the appraisal came in super low, or a lot lower than we thought. And the appraiser was it's right in Larchmont area, you know, Windsor Square, and they were comparing it to a place on Hobart and from a year ago. And so I personally like rebutted all of their comps, and we got the rebuttal up, but then the lender, the underwriter, just wouldn't accept it. And so it's just been a real pain in the ass. And my buyers are like, what the hell? Like, can we just get the sign off? And we're a week past our loan contingency. Thankfully, the agent and the buyers are being really, really cool and chill. I think because they don't want to have to show it again, and we've gone through inspections and all that. But the thing I'm telling my buyers now is, not only do you have to have your pre-approval, but I always try to speak to their lender, but I want the lender to actually go deeper, because these folks are getting an initial pre-approval, and then when the underwriter and the lenders dig deeper, they're finding that they can't get the amount they wanted at the rate they wanted. And then the buyers start getting really, really pissed. And it's not a sub 3% that they were told and they've been reading everywhere. They're actually might be getting 4, or in some cases 5, if they want to get the loan they want. So I'm counseling my buyers to be like, look, even though you may be looking at these sub 3 rates and thinking that it's all free money, you may not get that unless you are hyper clean as a buyer and you have a really clear income. But, you know, around here, you know, I'm dealing with a lot of writers and actors and folks who make good money, you know, when there's work, you know, and they may have a lot in the bank, but the lenders are like, sorry, nope. So that's what I would say is going on.
A little more picky too.
Way more picky, way more, yeah.
Yeah, and there's, you know, Christina had a crazy appraisal situation, and I've heard of a couple others where you know, they're just, the appraisers are, you know, just
way off.
Way off, you know, way off. I mean, big numbers.
I think because of right now, I mean, they're, you know, especially the retail banks, they're actually, you know, kind of pushing the appraisers to be conservative. And some appraisers are not taking into account the erratic price increase that we've been witnessing for the last couple of months. So my appraisal, which came in under 200K of the purchase price, is because he was pulling comps from last year's sales. And we're in an absolute different market here. So he did not take into account the current market position, but he was reflecting on the comps of last year's position. So that was what was the problem.
Yeah.
Say something on that too. I think it's important to note. So I'm in regular contact with my appraisal management company and the head of the appraisal management company. The tough part that appraisers have is that they can go up to 6 months, even a year back for pulling comps. And if you take into account when COVID first hit in March, or let's say even pre-COVID, January to now is a completely different market. And then you take into account March, April, even May, before things really started to heat up, the comps are, it makes it really difficult from an appraiser's standpoint, because there's also a strategy happening too with agents. I see properties all the time that are maybe a little bit underlisted, and then all of a sudden they're going for 150, 200,000 over, and you've got the shortage of inventory and the lack of comps. So it's a tough gig for appraisers. I would say just be as prepared as possible and provide comps and all the information and data and upgrades and everything else when you're doing and showing up to these appraisals.
So we actually submitted yesterday, based on that appraisal, we submitted a rebuttal to the bank so that the bank themselves internally are going to reassess. And we submitted 3 of the best comps that would be considered for the like for like. And so hopefully they will assess. But I mean, Maury said yesterday that Laura had the same situation. She had a second opinion done, and they did bring up the comps up to purchase price. So there was a substantial margin there as well. So.
Yep, it happens. It's just a tedious process at this point. Yeah.
And on the flip side of that, I had one that we really did not think was going to appraise at all. 990 square foot in Mount Washington at 1205. And we just really did not think it was going to. But because there were 6 offers and the listing agent told them like how close the backup offer was, and just how the areas just goes crazy with multiples, it actually came in at value. I mean, we were all pretty shocked. So there is, you know, some of them do it.
Yeah, that's a touchy conversation, really, for an appraiser to push up. Yeah, I mean, granted, that area is just blown up, and only six offers is is a little, right, in comparison.
Well, that was only because she had it really high priced to begin with, because she didn't want to, because of COVID, the listing agent didn't want to deal with 50 offers. She priced it at 1,100 a square foot to begin with.
Crazy number.
And it still ended up over.
Wow. All right, guys. Let's, if you don't mind, we're going to move to Paul, because Paul has another meeting and he wants to check in with us and give us some words of inspiration. If you guys, for anyone who doesn't know, Paul Morris is regional director and also the owner of our ownership group, Forward Living. And so we like to check in with him, every month or so, just to, stay connected and get his learned point of view, right? Ready to jump in there, B?
Yeah, thanks.
All
Thanks,
right.
I appreciate it. It's also fun to hear the day-to-day stuff too, because I know that the day-to-day stuff. Oh, I think, are you sharing screen, Joey? Because maybe we can
Yeah, you want to
unshare maybe.
You want to get your screen shared,
Oh.
Tara?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at a mask. Sorry.
Yeah, he's up and running. He's a co-host now.
Yeah, there you go. You can get in there.
All right. Okay.
Put him on the screen, Tara. There you go.
Yeah, no big deal. All good. Okay. So it's good to see the day to day. It's good for me to see the day to day, and I'm seeing more and more of that, during this period of time than I ever did before. Listening to the day to day travails of our agents, because it is at the end of the day you guys out there doing the kind of hand to hand combat that makes this whole thing go. So hearing about the buyer, the seller that has the son that's the smoker, and I scratch my head and go like, well, geez, does the son go along with the house on the title, or right? I mean, eventually you get rid of them, but I totally understand. It is these day-to-day things, and it's part of the client and customer service that you handle them, which again, I totally get. And that being said, that's not why, Joey asked me to come on to sort of give more of an overview of what I'm seeing on the bigger picture. And I'm going to say this, I have occasion to, I have the good fortune to talk to top realtors around the country, top realtors from our group in LA, outside of our group in LA, and around the country, to see what's going on and best practices. One of the things I want to start off with is that, I do not have a crystal ball. Okay. So I do not know where the market's going. And that being said, I'm going to tell you a view that's different from what many people are talking about. And that is, I believe that there's going to be a significant correction in this market, and that the high that we get right now from all this selling. And now I'm hearing, really honestly, for the first time, that, when Joey says, oh, it's kind of normalizing a little bit, that it's swinging back even to a little into normal non-COVID times. It's the summer, we'd be having a great season. We're having a better than usual season because we've had this pent up demand. Talk to these people that sell tons of real estate, busier than ever. And they, and when you're in that space, when you're in the part of leadership for me is really to say, when everybody is down in the dumps because we hit COVID, to say, this is a phase, right? It's almost like parenting, right? It's like whatever it is, when you have a child, it's like, oh, things are so great. She's 3 years old. It's wonderful. It's magnificent. And the wisdom is, this is a phase. It doesn't mean it's going to get worse. It doesn't mean it's going to get better, but we know that whatever this is not going to be forever. So this is a phase. And, as economics, as national and other industry economics impact real estate, I really truly believe that there's going to be a significant correction. Now, I talked to a super smart realtor yesterday. He was saying to me, well, real estate's going to carry us out of this, and all these sorts of things. And this is the first time as we enter a recession that real estate didn't carry us into the recession. The first time in the last 8 recessions, for sure. The last really bad one, real estate caused it. So is it going to, and therefore got disproportionately hurt by it. So is it going to be different this time? I think it will be different. When I look at, how many restaurants are closed that will not open? How many small businesses have closed that will not open? Yeah, there's new job creation. I don't think the job creation at the end of the day is going to outpace the economic damage done by COVID. So that's just my view. I can tell you, and I'm not a skeptic generally, right? But I can tell you that this sort of less optimistic outlook, if you listen to it, will cause you to do things that won't harm you. I can assure you of that. Because if I'm wrong and it's just, hey, it's all good, for another 2 years, cutting back on your expenses in a significant way, stepping up your income generating activities in a big way, those things will not hurt you. That's the thing. That's why I have no problem giving that advice. If I actually thought that the economy was going to be soaring, I might be nervous because I'm like, what if I'm wrong? Okay. Well, the what if I'm wrong would be great if I were wrong. But if I'm not wrong, then I'm giving you advice that's really, that if you take it will serve you in any market. So on a personal level, I've looked at all of my expenses. Mega Camp is coming up. Keith Cunningham and my favorite guy is going to slip my mind. Keith Cunningham is the in Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's the rich dad. He's very wise and has been through many of these market corrections. And he's one of the original people that I listened to who was like, hey, buckle down, step up your income generation processes and buckle down. So on a personal level, one of the things that I did was I just looked at my whole P&L, looked at everything I spend on, looked at everything from large to small, bank accounts that I had open from, real estate or whatever that I sold, or somebody required me to open bank accounts to have a line of credit. And then I don't use that bank. And I've got 3 accounts and they're $15 a month, and my finance person's like, get to the bank, close those things. I'm like, it's only $45, I'm trying to do the income generating stuff, but no one else other than me can close them. So this is the smallest ones, looking at a cable bill that's actually $400 a month that I haven't watched cable television in a year. I haven't watched network television, so you can get your Netflix and Hulu or whatever. So, I don't need to get to the weeds on it. Sold my house in Palm Springs, right? So I'm really, the one interesting thing I will say to you is this: I still haven't cut anything. I'm open to it, but I still haven't cut anything that I'm like, I really miss that. It's 100 and I don't know, is it 175 degrees in the desert now? But it's just like, I'm sorry, I don't miss that right now. Maybe in another season, but by the time I looked at the P&L, I could rent the nicest house you've ever seen. And, I could rent a house 5 times nicer than mine. Mine wasn't bad, for a week, 2 weeks, a month, and save money. Okay. So,
Paul, when you're saying I didn't cut anything, you're really saying I'm not feeling the cuts that I made. I don't even notice the cuts that I made.
And sorry, I didn't say it clearer. I haven't cut anything that I go, wow, I missed that. Yeah. I've cut tons of stuff, but I can't honestly say wow, I missed that. Yeah. I still have too many clothes in my closet for me to wear. I just quit buying everything. Now think about that. Is there pent up demand? So when things get, oh, well, hey, we're totally out of this. Do I go on a buying spree? Me personally, no. Some people will, but you're going to lose some of the demand. I'm telling you, I just really, from an economic, historical, and then also just reality, drive around and look at the shops that are closed. Okay. I'm invested, the majority of my portfolio, majority of my wealth is invested in real estate, multifamily. I'm very bullish on that. I still closed 2 properties mid-COVID. So I acquired a 4-unit in West Hollywood. I acquired 3 units in Culver City, and so I'm still bullish. Now, so that's the outlook. And then my first piece of advice is really, truly look at your expenses and really, truly cut your expenses. And then the next piece is how you use your time. Okay. One of the things that I've done since COVID that has been a massive unintentional education, right, is I'm like, okay, so every Tuesdays, I interview together with Tristan from Lab Coat Agents, who's helping with our regional communication. Every Tuesday, so yesterday, 9 a.m., we interviewed a woman who sells in Jacksonville, Florida. And I'll go ahead and say Jacksonville is not LA, and I agree. She is very high end. She is very professional. She looks great. She has a great team. She's okay. She does 300 sales a year. And what she's doing right now is stuff. I've been doing this a long time. And when she's telling me all this stuff, I'm taking notes. This is the first time I've heard of some of this stuff. Okay. So I would really encourage you to figure out what you do best, so that I have some realtors, let's say I have one realtor, a group of realtors that like, hey, we don't use Facebook. We're not online. Then I have a seminar with somebody that's like crushing it online, right? Now this group of realtors is like, oh, we have to figure out how to get online and then be best in class online in order to get that level of business. And my piece to you is don't do it. Okay. That seminar, ignore that seminar. Okay. Find the stuff that you already do really well and get best practices on it. Okay. So this woman, and I know AJ, my operations guy, will is posting these to a YouTube channel. Tristan live streams them on Facebook, and then we do a webinar for our group. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at 80, 90 people on that webinar, and I'm going like, my eyeballs are popping because she's telling me stuff that's amazing, right? She is all relational. Okay. So she's all sphere of influence. If you're a sphere of influence seller, okay, watch her video. Find somebody else to watch their video. She's like, oh, well, most of the business that I do, it's all based off this book. And Paul, I'm sure you know it. It was called Perk or Incentive. I have it written down. Incentivize your referrals, right? And probably on this call, there's probably like 30% of the people on this call, they're like, oh yeah, sure, we've heard of that. That's old news or whatever. I had never heard of it. Okay. So if you're a relational buyer, if you build your business based on relationships and you haven't heard of that book, or you've heard of it, but you haven't looked at it, look at that book, because this woman, yeah, it was. So somebody says, was it CC Underwood? Yeah, it was CC Underwood. Right. And so Eileen, do you think she's amazing, or am I totally taken?
CC was her former coach. She said, was Eileen.
Oh, CC was coaching her, right?
Yeah.
Well, here's what's interesting. Guess what else is interesting? Somebody said to CC, who do you coach? Who do you have as a coach? She's like, oh, well, I used to be a MAPS coach for 3 years. She kind of figured out it wasn't worth her time, or she didn't enjoy doing it, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't do it anymore. She's like, oh, but my coach is, and then she gives the name of her coach. I'm like, okay, so if I'm in the relationship building business, I'd like CC as my coach, but wow, if I could have CC's coach, right? That would be really cool. And there's no way I'm not selling MAPS coaching. Okay. I don't make any more money or whatever. If you used MAPS coaching and you hated it, that would be bad for me because it would hurt our relationship. I would find out, hey, who's CC's coach? And I'd hire that person for 3 months or 4 months and go, I'm going to learn everything they have to tell me. Right. She just has it totally wired. One of the cool things that she said was she's like, I'm like, where do you get your business from? So my question to all of you is this: where does your business come from? You need to know the answer to that. Okay. Go back and I would even say this: don't think about where you think your business comes from, because believe it or not, sometimes that answer is different than where it really comes from. So go back in the last 2 years or 18 months or whatever you think is the relevant time period, and what deals did I do in the last 24 months? Every single one. Did I do 10 deals in the last 24 months? Did I do 200 deals in the last 100? Doesn't matter. Every single one, and go, where did I get that piece of business? Oh, well, it's kind of one time my aunt and I bumped into this lady at the grocery store. Write it down, and if you find that like 30% of your business comes from bumping into people at the grocery store or wherever, maybe you should spend more time in the grocery store bumping into people. I'm just saying it's going to raise some awareness for you. And where do you get the majority of your business? And then look at, see, that's what you're already good at. Oh, I'm an internet guru, so but you're not. So let me tell you how I do it. Now you're like, oh well, if I don't become best in class on the internet, I can't do it. No. Look at what you do great. So the upside of your upside will always be greater than the upside of your downside. Forget about what you don't do well. Find what you do great. There's another, if you look up on that YouTube page, right, you'll find another one from Jason Abrams. Jason Abrams is the vice president of Keller Williams, does a lot of high-end sales, and he talks all about that. He's like, hey, I went to the mall and I saw this lady and she was doing like a plant club or whatever, and she does all this business. And he's like, I hate plants are obviously related to the house. It's all good. He's like, I hate plants. So you don't walk by that and go, look at the great things she's doing. I'm going to learn about plants and do my plant thing. You do the thing that you're great at. Now, one thing that CC does, which is really cool, is she's having these sort of online, she's good. It's her personality. You can tell she's the friend you want to have at the party, right? I'm not, right? Okay. So I like to be invited to the party, but not necessarily like, I'm not the highlight of the party, but she is the personality that could be. So she's doing things that play to that. You don't have to be her. But one of the things that she was doing is she's doing like I wrote down, she did a online cooking class. I personally don't know how to cook. I'm not a good cook. I don't really enjoy it, but I think it's cool. Imagine if I hired a professional chef, right? That doesn't cost that much. And I prepared this like amazing meal in my home on Zoom, right? And I sent the ingredient list out, a month before, and then 2 weeks before, hey, join my cooking class. We're going to cook this great thing. I'm going to have this, it doesn't have to be a celebrity chef. I'm going crazy already, but have this like great chef from this restaurant, and he's going to teach us how to make this thing that's amazing and simple and delicious. Run to Trader Joe's, run to, the store and buy these ingredients. We're going to all do it together. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, that would be fun. So it's just all these different interesting ideas of how to connect with your database. One of the things that she said was that she gets, so when she went through, she knew where she gets her business. Her number one source of business was agent referrals. So when I hear things that I know and I understand, I go, that's cool. Knew that. When I hear things that are like the opposite from somebody that I know does a great job, then I'm like, okay, wait a minute, stop the presses here. Like, what? Because if Tracy and Lorna come to me and like, hey, we want to like up our business a little bit, we're talking to more and more realtors, I would be like, stop talking to realtors, you know, talk to people that need to buy and sell homes. So then when I hear CC Underwood say, well, I did an analysis of my own, I asked her, do you know exactly where your business comes from? She says, yes. What is she's talking all about her sphere. What's your number one source? She goes, actually, my number one source is the other agents. I'm like, whoa, stop. How does that happen? How do you get other agents to refer business to you? What does that look like? You know, and so these are interesting things, right? Again, if you've never gotten a piece of business from another agent your whole entire career, maybe now is not the time, but at least understand how it's done. But if you're like, oh, actually, you know, my sphere is huge and I actually have gotten, you know, a few pretty good deals from other realtors, be like, wow, so what does that look like? How do I create more of that? You know, how do I reward the people? How do I, and I think really the answer to that question, by the way, is positioning yourself as an expert in the area, finding people that are doing listings or trying to get a listing that are from outside the area and say, hey, you know, I'll be your local expert here. They could be from a different company, right? So that's, maybe I'll leave it for questions because I did sort of a.
Yeah, well, no, I think that's great. I'll tell you, you know, there are two big things that I got out of it. You know, I totally believe in putting a multiplier on your, you know, your special powers, right? It's like double down on your existing success, right? You know, and then analyze what it is and double down on it. If it's relationship, if it's technology, if it's cooking classes, you know, just double down on that and run the whole play in those areas where you are already seeing a result, right? I love that. And the other thing is, you know, with regards to budgeting and cutting, you know, you just look at the office. You know, last month we had a record July profit, right? We didn't have a record July volume. We didn't have a record July sales. We didn't have a record July units. We had record July profit because we trimmed our expenses by 30% in preparation for this. You know, and we had a great month. We did have a great month. We were able to see a record profit in that month. And that was a great learning lesson for me personally.
Correct. And one of the things is we look at, you know, as we look at another thing that I do all the time is just when I look at what works for realtors and work hard to get that message out to our people. The other thing that I do is I look at what works well for brokerages. Okay, what's working, what's not working for brokerages in a really honest way. So another brokerage might be, their value proposition might be X, Y, Z. And I'm kind of like, X is really BS, you know, maybe Y, you know, but geez, Z is really cool. Like that actually, like I get it. And so we work very hard to make sure that we're providing the tools that actually work, you know, that other firms are using too. And that's the great thing for me in a way, you know, once a month minimum, you know, I had 7 hours with Gary Keller. That's a long Zoom. You know, I got to tell you, he's a smart guy. I like to be on the Zoom call with Gary. That's long for me. But, you know, we do have somebody who's at the very head of the company who looks at the landscape of real estate and brokerage in a way that really he has a deep understanding. And one of the things that I'll just share it with you, whether it's of massive interest or not, is up to you. But, you know, what happened was, this is the old story is this. Real estate used to be done by what Gary called a dependent model. And a dependent model is Coldwell Banker and Sotheby's, and actually Compass would fall into the dependent model. So it's all about the brand. It's all about their brand. And their value is, we have a good brand, and their sell is, we'll do everything for you, right? just come here and sell real estate. We'll take care of everything for you. That is a very attractive model to certain realtors. I would say that okay, so then Remax comes along. They're like, hey, it's not all about the brand. It's really all about the agent, and we're going to do nothing for you, okay? But we're going to charge you a super low amount. So then that's the independent model, and so you've got discount brokers, you've got Remax, you have discount brokers, and now you have EXP, which really trends towards that side of it, okay? And then Keller Williams created what it was by straddling the middle, right? By doing the interdependent model. Oh, hey, we'll have the best training, but we'll still do it not in a dependent way. We'll make it all about the realtor. That's a great value proposition for a large swath of realtors. Here's the truth. West Side LA, where you can do a few deals and make a good living, right? It's still trended toward the dependent model. It's why Remax never took off in West Side LA, right? Or in Metro LA. But in some of the other outlying areas of Remax or an EXP or whatever, we'll be able to take better hold. So one of the things that Gary has really morphed now is he's like, hey, we hit number one, now what, right? And, he's still seeing some loss of potential on the dependent side, still seeing some loss of potential on the independent side. And so now Gary's pitch is not that Keller Williams is the interdependent model. Gary will put up 3 columns, and it's the dependent, the interdependent, and the independent, and how Keller Williams really has systems and tools to service all of those as good or better than the people that are in that space. So we've got to actually make it less expensive. Okay, we make it less expensive. It doesn't have to be the least expensive. You make it less expensive, you deal with the independent side. More systems and tools for lead generation and taking care of your transaction through technology or not, through transaction coordination or whatever it is, so that we can, for the people who want it, plug into a really dependent model, which is really what we've built out here anyway. We're trying to figure out, how do we compete over here? Well, we need to have marketing in-house. We need to have, these things. And creating that model for both. Somebody that really helps with production is also part of the dependent model, right? These big teams that function on their own, they don't really need that, but they want the support. That's the middle one. And lastly, I'll say that one of the things that we have been working very hard, and Joey has been right at the front and center of for a long time, is getting our offices to work together so that we have forward living. And what that does is it creates the power of our group to do better marketing, to do better, just the volume alone. And one of the things, I don't go on listing presentations, right? It's not what I do. The people that are on this, Zoom right now, do, lots more of it and better and all that sort of thing. And I was sort of teasing my realtor friends, especially those not with our brand, because I didn't want to stick it to my own people as much. But, I sent some text messages out to my buddies that aren't with my brand, big, huge agents, go like, hey, I haven't taken a listing in, a century, just took a listing today, and then I wait for it, and they're like, ha, that's great, Paul, right? Because they do it all the time. And then I sent them the Wall Street Journal, article that picked up the one listing that I did because it was 1,000 units at $400,000 price point that we took at full commission, which is totally unheard of. That is $10 million of GCI, okay? And I will tell you that without what we've put together, I would never have been able to take that listing, because I will tell you what I did. I'll tell you how it happened, what I did, and then hopefully you can use this power for yourself. And that is somebody who was a Coldwell Banker. You can look at, just Google Greenbrier. If you Google Greenbrier, Greenbrier Paul Morris, it'll pop up in the Wall Street Journal press releases or Barron's or whatever. It got crazy coverage. So Tehachapi is a town outside of Bakersfield. We have an office up in Bakersfield. The top agent there was at Coldwell Banker. She sold a developer a piece of land a long time ago. She then moved to Keller Williams. So when the developer wanted to develop the land, she had hoped that they would bring the listing, but they were not going to do it. They decided no, and they interviewed different people. I was not one of them for sure. And they were getting ready to give it to 2 teams in Coldwell Banker. And then she called me. She's like, "Hey, I lost I'm not getting it. Can you, see what you can do for the office or for Forward Living?" And then I took the meeting. And here's the way I do a listing presentation, right? Now, remember, this is not my things. You all can say BS on it. But I just go in. If I went into a house, I would say, "Hey, I know that you're interviewing 3 people. And, what would the agent provide to you, the seller, that would cause you to sign the listing agreement right now?" That's my listing pitch right there. So, hey, you're going to list your house. You're interviewing me and 2 other people. The person that walks out with the listing, what are the 3 or 4 things that they're going to do that are going to convince you need to go with them? And then I'm like, well, wait a minute, let me get my pen out. Let me hear what this is. And then I listen and I'm like, I can either do it or I can't do it, or I can figure it out, or I can get somebody to help me to do it or whatever. Now I know what it's going to take. Now, if you do it in a real conditional close kind of way, I would listen to the 3 or 4 things or 5 things and go, okay, I'm not 100% sure I can deliver all those, but let me think on that for a minute. I'm really digesting what you say. But if I were to deliver on all 4 of the things you said, are you willing to sign this contract now? Right? Sorry, that's my listing. Joey didn't know I was going to do a listing presentation today.
I had no idea.
Especially John didn't. It was like John is like a billion listings. Is like, dude, are you kidding me? I was going to tell me how to do a listing today. This is good. So listen, I think a listing presentation is a great idea. Obviously, we're working on creating, the best in class. We're always after that. And a listing presentation at the end of the day is really about you, or it's about me. Yeah. And they're sort of interested, maybe, if you happen to hit the 4 points in your listing presentation that they really care about. Maybe they care about something that you think is irrelevant because you know better. It would be great to know that, because you're like, that's not that expensive. I know it's not going to sell the house, but I'll throw that in there too. Sure, we'll do that.
Yeah. They care about you getting them what they want. That's what they care. Right?
So, so the particulars of this deal, and of course I'm making it because it was a process, but the particulars of the deal were this. They're like, hey, what they wanted to do was they want somebody to do a fabulous job locally. And if they did the research, the people that they picked, who they weren't us, would do a fabulous job locally. But then they want to market this to Antelope Valley, and they want to market this to Santa Clarita, and they want to market this to Bakersfield, and they want to market this to LA. So I just said, hey, listen, you did the research, I didn't. I'm going to guess that you picked fabulous people at Coldwell Banker that are going to do everything they say they're going to do. However, it sounds like a big piece of this is going to come from these 3 or 4 areas. By the way, we have #1 market share in Antelope Valley by 2 times. We have, close to or #1 market share in Santa Clarita. We have #1 market share in LA. You can do a Zoom meeting or an in-person meeting into any one of our offices anytime you want to pitch your product if you sign right now, right? Right, I didn't say that, but if you come with us, you're going to get that. You're joining. Coldwell Banker is a fabulous company, fabulous name, but that's a franchise out there. Trust me, the owner of that franchise in Tehachapi, California, is not going to be able to get the CEO of Coldwell Banker or anybody way, shape, or form. They're not going to be able to call Coldwell Banker Beverly Hills and get their call returned. Like, we own Keller Williams Beverly Hills. We own Keller Williams Larchmont. Okay? So that was my pitch, and that was all I needed to hear. So I hope I didn't digress too much, but I want to let you know that you're part of a more powerful group. And so, you know, the synopsis of what I've said so far is manage your expenses right now. Okay? Because doing it's not going to hurt you, good or bad. Figure out, this is an assignment for all of you. Like, nobody made me, you know, nobody made me your boss. I'm not your boss, right? You're independent contractors. So your assignment, should you choose to take it, right, is find out where every single deal that you got came from for the last 24 months. If you just do, you don't even create a new plan from that. You just do that, it's gonna be like, I'm thinking it's going to create a new awareness, which will cause you to do some things differently.
And be aware of it, figure it out, and double down on it.
Double down.
Double down on it. Have fun with it. Go in as deep as you possibly can.
Yep. Yep. I love it. All right. Well, I actually took maybe a couple minutes more than.
It's all good. It's all good. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
But I get excited. You know, I get excited about it.
It's great.
Yeah.
Look at John. Look at John's face. John's excited for you.
John's still laughing. He's like, oh, wait a minute. Paul just told me how to do a listing. Okay. Right. I've been doing listings, you know, right? Before he knew what that was. I like it. Okay.
Thank you so much, buddy.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye. All right. Tara, let's get to that other, you know, the rest of the listings and such out, so we can get everybody excited. Get back on the track there. There you go. All right. There's our mask still for sale. Oh, John Barrentine. Let's go right to John. John is going to. There's new advertising guidelines per car or per the Greater Los Angeles Board, John. Which is it?
It's actually DRE, right? So there is and the new guideline that came out, and Tara has this, and she'll send it all to you guys. The link on this. There isn't a lot of new information that's here to talk about. This is the Real Estate Advertising Guidelines, August 2020, out from the DRE. Which makes for really exciting reading. But there are some things here that we all need to sort of refresh our memory about really quickly and to be up on. So where we see the biggest omission is really with social media and being really careful to make sure that we've got DRE numbers, we're identifying ourselves as agents, that sort of thing when we work with social media, and we are seeing those being reported to the board. The other thing, of course, then the other big thing that we see that comes through the committees at the board are sending out lists of comps and things without attribution there, or without which makes it look like we sold all of those properties, right? So without attribution to the MLS, there is a very specific MLS disclaimer that is online. You can pull it through the MLS. If you go to help and you go to rules and regs, it's there for you. And so be sure that you get that on all of your advertising materials if you're pulling stats and comps from the MLS to send out in mailers and drops. The other thing that we're seeing right now, and that we're hearing about both from the DRE, from CAR, from the MLS as well, is regarding signage. And you know, we were all anxious to get out there. I did it. We all did it. Anxious to get out, get signage out, talk about sort of a modified open house arrangement with using signage, but saying, you know, scheduled open houses, blah, blah, blah. Scheduled appointments for a Sunday afternoon from 2 to 5, which we have done and done it very successfully. So I'm a fan of it. The state is not a fan of it. And now the city is not a fan of it. And the city is now passing out fines for signs that are out on Sunday afternoons. So you got to watch. I don't know that anybody has been hit with fines yet, but I did have 2 come through that were reported to the grievance committee this past week for, and the way that CAR looks at it and the DRE looks at it is that it is inaccurate for the public to believe that they're going to be able to simply attend an open house. So it's not really truth in advertising when you've got a sign out on the corner. I would argue if it doesn't say open house on the sign, and you've covered it up with a sheet that says scheduled appointments over wherever it says open house on your directionals, I would argue that you're cool. I think you could probably get away with it. You might get called in on it and you'd have to defend it. At this point, we're stepping back from it, but that's going to be your call. But it should not say in any way open house for your Sunday directionals. And so, Joey, I'll let you make the determination on what you think people should or
No,
should.
I mean, I think my position has to be the same as the board, right, or DRE. That's my job is to be.
Yeah. Again, I think you could probably get away with it if you covered it up and said appointments only. But what we're seeing turn into us and what the professional standards guideline at this point is that is deceptive for the public, for them to believe that they can attend an open house. So yeah, I got 2 of them through this week that were reported to me. So that's probably the biggest change. Otherwise, everything else that's in here are all things that you've heard about. They're probably things that we could all use reminders on. It's really licensee designation at the first point of contact is really where most of it comes through. So again, back to social media, signage, cards, letters if you're mailing them directly to clients to say, I've got a client looking for your house. I've gotten 2 of those at my house that are handwritten. It looks like, and they probably got their children who were staying home and in the house, sitting at a dining room table, writing letters to people, but it doesn't have DRE numbers. It doesn't have any information. It just says, it signed a name and a company. So we're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff come through. And yes, people are looking to be creative right now because we know that so many of our traditional methods of lead gen are out at the moment. But if you come up with something new, just be really conscious of making sure that people understand it's coming from an agent and that your DRE number is there and that it's really clear that you're meeting the current guidelines.
Hey, John, when it comes to social media, is it enough to have your DRE license number in your profile? Or do you need to have it on every post that you're putting out there?
I believe it's 1 click away. So if it depends on what it is and how you're doing it. And it also depends on how many characters are there. So I don't think every time you send out a tweet, it has to have your DRE number. So if it's less than so many characters, I think that's one of the guidelines. We don't see a lot of that stuff. There aren't a lot of complaints about tweets, but I think once you get into Facebook posts and you get into Instagram posts, it's got to be really clear that you're an agent and that you are soliciting them for business, even though you may think it's incredibly casual. Like, here's a photo of an amazing house that I saw. My take is you need a DRE number there. It should have your name. It should have a DRE number. It should have your company name, or at least be no more than 1 click away to your landing page, at which point it should have it there. So for people that are just casually on social media and saying, well, I'm not really a real estate agent on here, blah, blah, blah. I think that's problematic. And under about, it should have your name. It should have your company name. It should have your DRE. If you're talking about Facebook, right? Same with Instagram.
John, is it enough that it's in your about? Does it have to be in the post as well?
Yeah, I think in the about, you're probably really covered. I think that if you're sending out, I think it really depends. I think if you're certainly if you're running Facebook ads, if you're running ads through Facebook, then yes, it should be there, definitely. I think if you're doing a simple post about something, if you're doing a simple post about a property or something that you saw, I think you're probably fine as long as it's in about. I think it just has to be really easy for the public to report things that they're not happy about, right? I mean, I think if you look at it that way, you wind up being pretty transparent about it.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, John. That was perfect.
The other thing that I will say just really quickly, just sort of along the lines of what Paul was talking about in forecasting, I was also in a strategic planning this week meeting for the board, a 5-hour Zoom call. But it was really interesting. And one of the things that we're projecting, that CAR is projecting, and the local board is also projecting, is that the good news is you may have a little less competition on the street in the next year or two, that the agent count is going to be down. We're estimating right now somewhere between 4 and 5%. So there's going to be a little fallout. The majority of that will be new agents not stepping into the business. And then, of course, the natural attrition of people, retiring, stepping away, moving, that sort of thing. So you're going to have a little less competition on the street, which I think is good news for all of us. And we always hope that, you know, with a correction, that it also comes with some of the agents that are not doing much business being weeded out of the business. And of course, we also went back through that the average agent in the business does 3.2 deals per year, which is actually kind of surprising as well. All right,
so California, John?
This was LA.
LA.
That was a board number. The average agent in the Greater Los Angeles Association of Realtors does 3.2 deals per year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Higher than I thought. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very, very much. We appreciate all of your updates and keeping us in line is what we look for, John. All right, let's move on. Tara, get to the listings and such. Let's see what we got. Josh Mendoza, it's your birthday this week, apparently.
It is. Thank you.
Birthday, Tracy's birthday also. Rick Ryan and Patrice and Stephen Pacias and Tim Paulson all had birthdays this week. It's a rock star group. Excellent. Andy, do you have any more to add today, or we lose Andy? We may have.
Hi, sorry, I'm here. I'm here.
Right.
Hi. A couple of quick things, really quick. FHA, I'm sure a lot of you have heard, FHFA implemented an additional 0.5% add to conventional rates and to conventional loans. This doesn't mean an instant 0.5% add to the consumer rate. What it means is there's an extra 0.5 point add to our margins. So that cuts into any lenders or any brokers, anybody's profit margins. That actually equates to about a 0.25% add to rates for refinances for conventional loans. It doesn't apply to purchases, but to refinances only. So that's important. Again, it's only on conventional stuff. The reason they're doing that is to mitigate loss and risk and all of those things. In addition to that, exciting news, I think I mentioned a while back, are traditionally to avoid a jumbo loan program. If somebody is in the 1.2, 1.3 price point, that maybe doesn't have the 20% down, maybe they have 20% down but don't have the reserve requirements, maybe they're in the entertainment industry and their taxes are a little wacky. Usually we would look at splitting that up into 2 loans. And in the last couple of months, that program that we would do a piggyback first and second combination with, that program sort of pulled back and pulled the reins back a little bit while they made adjustments, while they assessed sort of the damage. The good news is that program is back. We can now go 10% down on a jumbo. The general price point on that particular program is going to be in the 1.3, 1.4 price point with 10% down. Again, this is for somebody that doesn't qualify for jumbos. There's been major constriction in the jumbo loan world in terms of qualifying and requirements. So it's a really good option. It's back. They cut it back to 20% down requirement, and now it's back to 10. So
excellent.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
It definitely is.
Andy, thank you.
Yeah.
Big love. All right. Ed, do you have anything to add additionally?
Just really quickly, Paul touched on it briefly, but Mega Camp is coming up in September. Typically, Mega Camp happens in Austin quarters every year. It's one of our 2 big flagship events of the year. Typically, if you look around the office, the people who typically go to it line for to ride on one of those little scooters to get you back to your hotel, all that kind of stuff, right? So it is posted on KW Connect. Yes, Rob, bring your own wine. That's part of
Glass half full guy,
Of course.
I love that. Rob is a glass full kind of guy. Yeah, so I hope you guys can attend. Very cool stuff. One last thing I'll say very quickly is that there is a great, I just posted the link on the chat. There's a great link that Tristan and Blake did on current Facebook ads. And I will tell you that for my coaching program, yesterday I created a landing page so people can register there to sign up to hear more about coaching. I ran a bunch of targeted Facebook ads using a template from Command. And then I ran that through Facebook and targeted it to a targeted audience from a list that I had uploaded. The whole thing took maybe an hour and a half because it was my first time doing it. If I had done it again, the whole thing probably would have taken me 20 minutes. It's pretty cool. Like if you don't have enough people in your database and you want to stock it up with some new blood and some new people you can reach out to, it's a way of meeting people pretty quickly. And of course, the secret is all in the follow-up. It's not about just getting their name and number. It's all about the follow-up. And if there's another, if you look up Tristan Ahmad on Lab Code Agents, there's another one that they do on how to follow up with them as well, including a smart plan that you can upload into Command that will automate some of that for you. Anyways, I hope you all check it out. And yeah, let me know how it goes for you. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Ed. What do we got? Well, there's Paul's intro. All right, closed leases this week. We got Brian Stinsonacker, Christina Kim, Core Group, and Tracy Pence all have closed leases this week. Congratulations, you guys. Yay. We got some closed escrows. Christina Kim, David Lubell, Ed closed his property on 184th in Cherney. Excellent. Jelena closed her first deal. Congratulations, Jelena. I don't know if you're on, but congratulations. Jen Stein, congratulations. I saw you in there. Linda Blair, Laura Anderson, Sabine, and also Sarah. Congratulations, you guys. Excellent week in closings. Also, we have new escrows. Angela Bond has 2 new ones. Antron, Deher, Marisa, and Paul Yu all have new listings this week. Congratulations, guys. And let's get to the listings. Lena, you want to talk about your 12 units? I thought Lena was on there. In San Francisco.
She is on. She's having trouble unmuting herself.
Okay. Well, Lena has TIC in San Francisco that she's going to be working on, and that's number 12.
Hold on. Can you guys hear me now?
Go.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Sorry. Anyhow, there's a couple of things. This is a development opportunity in San Francisco. It is a project already underway. It's a 12-unit building that the LLC's been set up. We have a lot of numbers to go over with you. They're offering up to a 50% ownership on it. The building's already been bought. New roof's been on. One of the current investors is a little bit overextended on the projects that he's taken on. So he's looking at selling his interest. That's the bottom line of it. But we have a lot of numbers and we can go over the scenarios with you. If you're interested, get a hold of me and my partner and I will talk to you about it.
Excellent. Thanks, Lena.
Thanks.
All right. Next is Tiffany Chin's 850 South Morton. It's 1.380. Saw a lot of social media on that this week. It's a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,176 square feet, and through social media, it looks beautiful. Angela Bond has a new listing in Toluca Lake, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,862 square feet for 1.150. Core Group has a unit on Cynthia in West Hollywood. It's a 2-bedroom, 3-bath, 1,470 square feet for $1,090,000. It's beautiful. Alexandra has a listing on, oh, we lost that. Has a listing on Sunset Boulevard. No, Lena, no, that's not quite yet. All right, we'll get back to Alex, yep, here it goes. Oh no.
Sorry, my computer is like glitching really bad. Hold on.
One more time.
There we go.
There you go. So that is 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,208 square feet for $865,000 on Sunset Boulevard. Okay, we're getting a little crazy here. Sorry, guys. Michael Gola on Alfred has a lease for $5,150, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet. Lena also has a lease on Poinsettia, 534 North Poinsettia. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,900 square feet for $4,600. Tim Manishman on Keniston, 1182 Keniston, has a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,100 square feet for a smidge under $4,000 a month. Russell Roney has a property in the Barker Block, and that is a lease for a 1-bedroom, 950 square feet for $2,800 a month. Gina has a lease, 1-bedroom, 1-bath on 1234 Wilshire, $2,200 per month, 1-bedroom, 1-bath. Linda Shim and Andrew have a listing on La Mirada, 1-bedroom, 1-bath, 750 square feet for $1,700 per month. Lots of leases. All right. And wants and needs, fill the bucket. I'll fill the bucket with all you guys. Thanks for being patient. Went a little longer than usual today. Any wants or needs that anyone like to express?
Joey.
Good, Alex.
Hi. I have some leases coming up. If anybody has anyone looking, it's on Orange and like 6th, like just north of Wilshire. And one is a studio. It's been kind of redone, you know, new floors and that sort of thing. That's going to be about 1,600, and then a 1-bedroom in the same building. It's going to be about 18.
Excellent.
So I'll get them up. They're just doing a couple things to them, and then I'll get them up.
Excellent. Anyone else?
Carlos and I have a new listing coming up. It's a 9-unit apartment building in Fresno. Price is going to be $850,000. All fully occupied, no problems with tenants not paying or any situations like that. He's got a manager there that handles the management of that. So anyways, please call me, text me, or contact Carlos for information. We will be going live probably in the next couple of weeks, maybe towards tail of the month or the beginning of September. We still have to prep. So the client just came in this morning and asked us to sell it. Okay.
Is it cash flowing?
Yeah, I think it's actually a really good cash flow. There's, I think his net was, like 6,000 per month, his net. So not bad.
That's really good. Yeah, excellent. Anyone else? Wants, needs? No?
I do, Joey.
Get in there, Jen.
Hi, guys. If anyone has any clients who want to get out of LA, I'm offering a 30% referral fee for anything in Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara, Goleta, Santa Claus Lane.
Montecito. Yep. San Ynez Valley, all that.
All right. Excellent. Anyone else? All right, so a couple things in the chat. Eileen put in the CC Underwood, not CC Underwood didn't write the book, but she did And Jen wants to add oh hi to that, of course. CC Underwood, the book that Paul was talking about is Perk Your Sphere, Reward. Perk your sphere. Reward those who, bring you business, is what I think the name of it is. And there's the Amazon link in there for it, anybody. Also, all of the videos Paul's were talking about are either on Paul Morris's personal YouTube channel or Tristan's YouTube channel. I subscribe to both of them. There's great materials on all of those, as well as our office YouTube channel. We're in the midst of creating, I think, like a playlist where we can, cross collateralize on these other Paul's and Tristan's site. If there's nothing else, anyone? Did I miss everybody?
Hi, I have something to ask. Okay, in the same complex, my son's townhome, we're closing it this coming Monday, which is excellent. But a neighbor is interested in selling off market. So it's not a formal listing, but he would like me to find a buyer for him. Also around the $975 price, which is what we're closing at. But at the same time, he is an investor and asked me to look for him. Also, he knows everything on the market, but he's saying if I could find anything that's either industrial with a value add of 4% cap or multifamily in Van Nuys, Sherman Oaks, and North Hollywood with a 5.5% cap. So I'm just throwing that out there to see if anyone might have anything. And then if it's industrial, I'm happy to work with someone on that because I know nothing about that, obviously. And multifamily, I would, be thrilled to work with someone else. If we could find something together, that'd be great.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? If not, I'll send you on your way to make the magic happen. Right? All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week, if not before. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Joey.
My
Bye. Happy birthday, everybody.
Happy birthdays.
Birthday, Tracy.